Welcome back to the ABC of EDC with me, Rick Flat, your guide through everything everyday carry. Do me a favor, will you? If like 80% of the people that watch videos on whatever channels they watch it on, you aren't subscribed, take a moment to like, subscribe, press the little bell icon thing and select all, and then you'll get all the different videos that we put up, the weekly reviews, all the short unboxings that we put in shorts, and also you'll get the 10 things to buy for the man in your life video that will drop tail end of this week, beginning of next week, ahead of the Christmas rush. Bit of a funny video to put out, 10 gifts for the man in your life. Judging according to the analytics of this channel, you're mainly men, but I guess you can pass it on to your spouse. You can watch it again and again in front of her and say, isn't this a good knife? Isn't that a nice flashlight? Isn't that a nice carabiner carry hook? Isn't that a nice bolt action pen? And all the other various stocking fillers that will be sticking in there. That'll be up next week. Please do it. On that note, subscribers and interaction, we're up around 200 subscribers now, which is awesome. Every day, 5, 10, 15 people get added. I love this. Let's keep it moving. It'd be really good to see more and more interaction with this channel. People are commenting now, which is good. I'm trying to reply to your comments and say hey and thanks for the comment. And if you have commented, if you have subscribed in the last little while, love it, love you, awesome. Let's keep going. Anyway, quick one today. We're really not going to mess around too much. We've got another watch review. We seem to have a lot of watch reviews in at the moment, but don't worry, I've got some knives coming in and some other kind of different EDC carry items other than watches. Just got a backlog of watches to get through. So last watch we looked at was the Seiko 5, the grey man, I called it, the grey man, or some people call it the cement or the concrete. You can catch wherever the link goes. I can never remember which side it is when I'm on camera, but the link to that review will be up in the top here. Click on that if you want to find out more. But today we have another Seiko, and it's another Seiko 5. But this one is slightly different, has some additional features. Its price point is higher than the last Seiko. So we're going to talk about this a little bit. And like I said, it's not going to be very long because, to be honest with you, I'm not sure this is really the one. I'm not sure this is the one for me. When this watch came out, a lot of people spoke about it as if it was going to be like the brand new kind of, it was going to storm all the other people in this bracket. At the price it is, for the features it got, they were saying it's marvelous. I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, let's get on with it. As ever, I will stick in some macros of the dial, the hands, the bracelet, the movement, so you can get a good look at it. We'll just look in the box here. What have we got? We got a little guarantee, little instruction manual. We don't need either of those. And then we got a box within a box, and then like this other thing, I don't know, Seiko kind of getting busy doing stuff. We don't need any of that junk. What we're interested in just is what is in here, and it's in a little box that's kind of like would have suited the other Seiko 5 that we had the other week. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this little bad boy here. Now, look, you try and open a box all majestic like for the camera that's above, and the watch is all sloppy and hanging out. I don't know. Anyway, this is the Seiko 5 GMT. A lot of people giving this watch a lot of love, and there is a lot to love about this watch, but also I think that there are quite a few, if not problems, shortcomings with this particular watch, and we'll go over that, as I say, as we overlay a bunch of macro and video shots of this watch. Now, the thing about this watch is when I first opened this watch, I sent a video to my friend straight away, and I just said, oh man, she's pretty, she's good looking. I like the whole vibe of this watch. And I sat with it for a few days, looked at it when I can. I had a whole bunch of content to film for this channel and the other channel, some other projects I'm doing, but I kept looking at it and taking some stills and taking some video. And man, I like it. There is a lot to like about this watch, but I think it's playing a trick on us. I think if it's not too horrible a metaphor or a picture or an illustration, if it's not too sexist and slightly off for these modern days, this is kind of like an ugly chick in a tight dress. This is like, someone where, and for the ladies, it might be like a slightly guy that gives you the ick, but from afar, he's got like wide shoulders and like he looks muscly, but you get up close, it's not great. It's not a great story. Because this watch on the front of it, it looks nice. Don't get me wrong, it looks nice. I really like the colours of it. This particular one, I believe there's a blue and a black and this orange. I got this orange because I've always loved orange divers. I've always had a thing for them. But when I got it out of the box, like I say, it was kind of like, it really took me. I was like, oh, this is really lovely watch. But the more I looked at it, the more the elements of the watch clashed and didn't really work with one another. You have an orange dial that in different colours takes on a kind of sunburst effect. At other times it looks quite metallic or alloy coloured, which is not great. But then they made the decision of putting on rose gold hands. So you have an orange dial, rose gold hands, a dark black GMT hand, a white lollipop second hand, white applied indices. Then you have the bezel, and the bezel is kind of inlaid with, I guess you might say, almost like a faux patina on the numbering on the bezel. And then it's got this Jubilee bracelet with polished center links, and just as a whole, it kind of catches your eye. But when you start to look at it, you go like, oh, I don't know, I don't know if this is the one. I don't know. And then there's a couple of things that really bother me about this watch. Now, people have been bigging up this new movement. I think it's the 4R and this new GMT module. I don't know if it's new or it's just new in this watch. I don't know enough about Seiko's movements, to be honest with you. But it is a hand wound. I like it. Well, I say hand wound. It can be wound by hand, but it also has an automatic rotor on the back. So you're going to get, with the movement of your body and your wrist, you're going to wind the watch as well. It has hacking, so you pull that crown out and it hacks. The second hand stops. But that's the first problem. You pull the crown out. As I said with the previous SKX wannabe, the Seiko 5 Grey Man, it looked like a good diver. It had the appearance of it, but that also didn't have a screw down crown, so you're left with 100 meters water resistance, which is all right. But we know from the previous models they've had, they've got the machining to do a screw down crown here, but they don't. It's just push pull. But even worse with this one, you have a bezel. Now listen to this bezel. Do you hear the clicks? No, because there are no clicks. This is a friction bezel. There are no clicks. Now, the only advantage I imagine to Seiko with this is that there are no alignment issues, because you can exactly align it. And it's, as far as friction bezels go, and I've had watches with friction bezels before. I used to have a lot of Vostoks, and Vostoks have all got essentially a pin friction system. The good thing about it is, I guess alignment's never an issue. But I still think that over time, even though it's got some resistance now, that could get looser. And you never can quite trust that if you're measuring something with this watch, with the bezel, that it might move. It might move. So no screw down crown, a friction bezel, and then this bracelet. This bracelet. Now all kind of Jubilee bracelets are a bit chinkly. But this thing, especially when you open the bracelet, you hear that? Rattly. It's like someone playing Mr. T in a school play, like that. They couldn't afford real jewelry. They just put some whatever on it. It's just, it feels cheap. As you look down it from the back, you look where the bracelet joins the case. You have not solid end links, you have folded end links, hollow end links. Now, this watch was £299 on Amazon. I got this off Amazon, £299. So for my money, for 300 quid, I think there should be a number of changes to this. For £300, I would expect a milled clasp. I would expect, to be honest with you, solid end links, and even at least a clicking bezel. I'd even go for like a 60 click here. I don't care, man. Some sort of clicks in there, and possibly a screw down crown. The crown is nice, good size. It looks nice, but there's no signage on it. It's plain. So yeah, I think there's a lot to hate about this watch. Not hate because when you see it, you'll like it. If you saw someone this on your wrist, you go, oh, that looks nice. But then if you took it off the wrist and held it for a while, like me, you'd begin to see some of its shortcomings. But still, in certain moments, she is pretty. She is pretty. There's something about her. And you can get to the point where you could almost forgive those gold hands. You could almost forgive some of its shortcomings because it does have a certain panache, a little bit of flair about it. And it's great to have a GMT function. If you don't know what that is, it just means that you can measure 2 time zones, that you have this fourth hand that can be moved independently to indicate a different hour to the hour of whatever country you're currently in. That's a good feature. And people kind of said, this is great. This is the best, cheapest GMT you can buy. And I understand what they're getting at, and I suppose it is. But if you were to go on AliExpress, you could pick up a Pagani design. You could pick up any number of other watches with a GMT movement. You might argue it's not as good as this, but what you'd find with those watches, I've got to be honest with you, is you'd find sapphire glass. This is Hardlex Seiko mineral. You'd find a click bezel, a screw down crown, solid end links, and a mill clasp, and you'd find it all for under £100, where this is a pound under £300, and you're not getting any of it. So I like it, but to be honest with you, you can see. Like, let me take the ever beautiful Casio Duro off. You'll see that I have not actually even sized this for my hand, because I'm not going to keep this one. I thought I would. I thought this would be a nice thing. I thought this might be a little early Crimbo present for you guy, but nah, man. I'm not. I think this is gonna go back because there's just too many shortcomings. I think about adding a couple of £100 more and getting a Hamilton. I think about, for the same money, I could get a Tissot PRX, the quartz mind, but still that with its integrated bracelet and sapphire glass and Swiss movement and Swiss heritage. You can't really that's well, you can get them for 295 quid. Seiko, you got to do better than this, man. You've got to take how this looks in photos where we don't know the materials, and you've got to deliver it in the real world with all the materials we hope for, with all the stuff we hope for. If you do that, if you were able to put the sapphire glass, the solid end links, the screw down crown, the 200 meters water resistance, give us a proper bezel, then this here GMT would be a problem for a bunch of other manufacturers. But as it stands right now, hot as you are, lovely as you are, at a glance, you ain't the one. You ain't the one. What do you think about this Seiko GMT? Maybe you've got this one, maybe you've got one of the other colorways. What's been your experience? What do you agree, disagree with? What have you done as far as changing out straps, glass, all that sort of stuff? Let me know in the comments. But this has been the ABC of EDC, and I've been Rick, and this has been the Seiko 5 GMT. Later, yeah. See you next time. That must never be released. Never release that video. You can never let that bit get out. We're going to edit it out. Edit everything out. No one will ever know what just happened. It can't ever happen.